Èjìrẹ́ ará ìṣokùn, ẹ̀dùn jọ bí ọmọ ẹ̀dùn tí ń ṣeré orí igi. Ọ̀bẹ́kẹ̀sẹ̀ bẹ́káṣá, ó fẹsẹ̀ méjèèjì bẹ́ sílé alákìsà, ó sọ alákìsà dónígbà aṣọ. Gbajúmọ̀ ọmọ tí ń gbàkúnlẹ̀ ìyá, tí gbàdọ́bálẹ̀ bàbá tó bí i lọ́mọ. Wíníwíní lójú orogún.
We speak to you from the three worlds in which you have lived. We speak to you of the three phases of your never-ending life.
We speak of the living, the dead, and the unborn. First, we speak to you as the living because although you have also been the dead and the unborn,
this is the only state of being you will remember.
My name is Mrs. K.E. Jimo, and this is my family story. My parents moved to the UK in the 1970s, so I've lived there since I was a teenager. Our story begins in Nigeria, where I was born, a few days before independence.
They were discharged from hospital this evening. I've just finished speaking to their mother.
And just in time for independence. Congratulations, Ma.
Thank you, thank you.
A girl and a boy, Abby?
Yes, so...
Grandma.
That is me now. How's my mother doing?
She carried it on her back all day.
Oh, that's new.
You know, like one would carry a baby.
Did you try to,
take it from her? No. She didn't eat for a week the last time I took it away. I don't want to do that again. It is on the table again now. When are you coming to visit?
Oh, I need to go and help my son and his wife. When I return from Lagos, I will travel down to see her.
You can't come before you leave for Lagos?
Please, give her the phone.
Okay, ma. Ọmọ yìí fẹ́ bá yín sọ̀rọ̀. Lydia, ọmọ yín, Lydia.
Have you given it to her? Hello? Hello? Mami, mo mọ̀ pé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi. Ọmọ yín, Lydia ló ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀. Báwo lára yín lónìí? Mami, ṣé ẹ̀ ń gbọ́ mi? Mo fẹ́ sọ fún yín pé ìyàwó Jídé bímọ láàárọ̀ yìí. Ṣé rántí Jídé? Ọmọ mi Jídé àti ìyàwó ẹ̀ Adésùà. Adésùà bí ìbejì láàárọ̀ yìí.
Ìbejì?
Mami.
Ìbejì?
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mà, ọkùnrin kan àti obìnrin kan bíi ti ìbejì.
Kú oríire, Ìdòwú. 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 Ibo ló wà?
Lydia lè bá sọ̀rọ̀. Kì í ṣe Ìdòwú. Sorry, Ma. She gets confused sometimes. Are you there?
She's not confused. She's not confused at all. I am Idowu. She just hasn't called me that in 50-something years.
Oh.
Good night.
There are unusual children who bring their names with them from the world of the unborn. We, ibeji, are chief among them. Any child who occupies our mother's womb right after us is Idu. We bring not just our names, but that of the children who are born after us. Idu, you are the Esu who came after us. Trickster spirit. One of us, but not part of us.
sílé alákìísà. Dání bá aṣọ ti gbádùn.
Mama, this one is for you.
Oh, it must be the gift Mommy said she was going to send for the twins.
Is she lucid enough to buy something?
She was very pleased about the twins, so I think that gives her clarity. The nurse even said there's a letter with the parcel.
Ìdòwú mi àtàtà. Sọ fún Jídé wípé mò ń bayọ̀. Sì sọ fún ìyàwó rẹ̀ wípé èmi náà ti gba irú ìbùkún yìí rí. Àmọ́ o, rán ọ létí wípé àkúnwọ́sílẹ̀ rẹ̀ yìí mú ìkìlọ̀ lọ́wọ́. Nígbà tí èmi bí àwọn ìbejì mi, Táíwò ló kọ́kọ́ jáde. Ó tètè fẹ́ tọ́ ilé ayé wò ni.
When I arrived in the land of the living, the midwife slapped me several times, but still I did not cry. For the first few moments of my existence in a human body, I was my sister's emissary, spying to make sure that plane was safe enough for us. If the world of the living soured too swiftly when it touched my tongue, I would have journeyed through the land of the dead to yet my unborn twin, bearing warning that would keep her with the unborn. Only when I wailed my decision to abide among the living did Kehinde budge in my mother's womb. And so, from the start, we dictated the terms of our presence to anyone who cared to pay attention, warning that we would always be bound together.
I think he wants to sleep. Neither of them really slept during the night.
Which one of them was born first?
The boy.
Like my mother's twins.
Your mother's what?
My mother also had twins years before she gave birth to me.
Chide never told me about any twins in your family.
Oh, he doesn't know about them.
Oh, they died? Young?
My mother said the boy, Taiwo, died the same year I was born. When I was young, my mother would not stop talking about her twins. She described how they laughed, the toys they liked, all the birthmarks on their skin. My earliest drawings were of the twins. I sketched scenes based on the stories my mother often told about them. I assumed those early drawings would comfort my mother, but she refused to even glance at them. I drew the siblings I'd never really known over and over again, trying desperately to command my mother's attention, thinking that if the images were as close to life as possible, she would look at them, and maybe then she would see me too. I was jealous of the twins. Even in death, they seemed to mean more to my mother than I did. I was angry at her too, for how uninterested she was in everything and everyone, including me. But now, I understand that she was just overwhelmed with grief. We believe that twins are special. They're like gods, you know, one split in two. They bring so many good things with them from the world of the unborn into their family. They make their parents prosperous. My mother testifies to all of this happening in our family. My parents had such good fortune after the twins arrived, and it continued until the year I was born. My mother told me it happened in the night. While his twins slept, my brother's fever raged, and then in the final watch before dawn, he died. Or, as she would put it, he embarked on a journey.
Ibeji, one soul split in halves that inhabit two bodies. When one body leaves the world of the living, the distance between the two halves becomes unbearable. On the day I left my body, my mother was mopping it with cold water while my sister slept. And even though it was our mother who was awake, it was my twin who cried in her sleep at the very moment of my departure. My mother was so busy trying to bring my temperature down, she did not notice I was limp until Kehinde screamed. When I left my body, my sister became restless in hers. She was one half of a soul longing for the other, and I too wandered without rest, reaching for her, longing for the wholeness that can only come from a reunion.
My brother and I were christened 8 days after we were born. Our grandma brought all the items that were used to pray for us, symbols of the life she hoped we would have. There was honey, so we would have a life just as sweet. Water, because who can live without it? Bitter cola, for a spirit that survives good or evil and prevails even in old age. My brother, having arrived first, was called Teyelalu. I was christened Kehinde. My family always called me Kenny.
So many people gave us feeding bottles, but not one walker. Me, I was hoping at least one guest would give us a walker.
You can't depend on guests at a naming ceremony for what your children will need, though.
I've learnt my lesson. Why won't he stop crying now?
Bring his sister. My mother used to say her son always wanted his sister close to him. Oh yeah, come closer. Let them see each other. Like that. You see? They are coming down.
Have you finally opened the gift the Agba sent?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Adesua, please, come and take this baby.
What is that? Is that what Yagba sent?
Yes, it is.
No. You want to leave that thing in this house?
This is my mother's most precious thing. It is her gift to you, to your twins.
What is it?
Thank you, Jare Adesua. My father came from a family of carvers, and his uncle, who was working with royal carvers at the time, invited him to Benin to come and live there. My father was already working in one of the Oba's workshops when my brother died. A year passed after his death, before my father went back to Owo to do what should have been done as soon as one twin died. By then, my sister had begun to call her dead twin's name while she slept. My mother says they were meeting on the bridge between this world and that of the dead every night. It was a question of time before Taiwo drew his twin over to the other side. A question of time before she chose not to return to us at dawn.
To save my living twin, my father went back home to fashion an airy ibeji. He had watched his father carve several and could do it himself. Yet he knew the job was not complete until the Babalawo had convinced me to tether myself to this statuette and by that keep my twin interested in the world. My new home was made first for my sister, to anchor me to this world and keep me close to her. Then for my mother, who would care for my wooden figure as she cared for my body when I inhabited flesh. Finally, This every ibeji would return to the family shrine when my sister had ceased to reside in flesh and my work of keeping her alive was done. If our parents outlived her too, they would make a companion statuette and anchor her to it. We would stand side by side in the family shrine, guardian over generations, worshipped as the gods we are, abiding in the family for all time. We would be surrounded with love forever. Ido, this is what was supposed to happen.
Iyagba wants you to have this, so that you too can remember, so that they will not be forgotten, as long as her seed walks the earth.
Shouldn't there be two of this? Didn't they make one when the other twin died?
This one was made when my sister died. I was working at the time. Sometimes I think I remember her, but I'm not so sure. I drew the twins so many times, it began to feel like something remembered. The first ibeji was carved when my brother died, and my father did it himself. But this one, it had to be carved by one of my father's cousins.
Why?
We lived in the artisan quarters, close to the royal workshops. Benin City wasn't under colonial rule yet. When the invasion happened in 1897, my mother was in the market. She ran back home, hoping to find my father and take some things with her before their home was destroyed. But everything was gone, pillaged and burnt. Even the ere ibeji she had cared for every day like the child she lost.
The hand that grabbed me from the place my mother had put me was unlike any I'd seen when I was in my body. Pink and pale like something skinned. It touched me without the tenderness I was used to, without care.
My mother went back to Owo to wait for her husband, but we never saw my father again. He must have died during the invasion. It could have been the stress of traveling to Owo, but my mother is convinced that my sister fell ill because the ere ibeji was gone. Maybe she was right. Before she died, my sister spent the night calling for her twin in her sleep.
We'll take good care of it. Won't we, Kenny?
Yes, Dad, we will. My father passed the statuette to me on my 18th birthday after we emigrated from Nigeria. My grandma visited us as often as she could. She was always pleased by the connection I had to the ibeji statuette, all that remained of the sister she never knew. My brother and I were always eager for our grandma's visits. She brought us books and comics, groundnut candy, and fried snails, all the toys our parents claimed we did not need. Whenever Grandma came over from Nigeria, we toured parks and museums together. These were mostly unremarkable trips until the day we walked into a museum. And just like that, there he was.
Is he the one? Is he? He is. Those beads around his neck, my mother made them. She had the identical ones. He is the one. Ejire, Ara Isokun, how did you get here? Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Táíwò. Ejire, Ara Isokun.
Ètùnjọ́bí, ọmọ ètùn tí ń ṣeré orí igi. Bẹ́kẹ̀sẹ̀ bẹ́kásá, ó fẹsẹ̀ méjèèjì bẹ́ sílé alákìísà. Ó ṣalákìísà dónígbà aṣọ. Gbajúmọ̀ ọmọ tí gbàkúlẹ̀ ìyá tí gbàdọ̀ bálẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ bàbá tó bí i lọ́mọ. Wíríwírí lójú orogún. Ṣìwòrò lójú ìyá ẹ̀. Táíwò, Táíwò, Táíwò.
Idu, you have come for me. Eso that comes after the twins. Trickster spirit Idu. You have come finally. You will find a way. You will get me home to love.
At first, I just found my grandma's behavior embarrassing. But later that evening, I thought about her anguish and wanted to understand her loss. So I decided to become a curator. My grandmother returned to England every year after that visit until she died. Once she had dropped off her luggage in our home, before showering or changing out of the clothes she had travelled in, we would visit the museum together so she could see her brother. What she wanted more than anything was to take him home with her. She knew she should take him home, but that was never possible. A decade after my grandmother died, when Prince Akenzua of Benin wrote to the UK Parliament about all that was stolen from his family and the Benin Kingdom in 1897, I was hopeful for my family, for restoration, a repatriation. Perhaps I would be able to fulfill my grandma's dying wish and return this ibeji to his family, my family. It's been over a decade since that letter was written. Yet these repositories of history, spirituality and consciousness have not been returned. These tangible records of ancestry have not been returned. Brass, gold, terracotta, ivory, wood, they have not been returned. And they are here in this museum, all over this continent, all over the world. They are everywhere, except at home. And that is why I am a curator, to take my ancestors back home, to all the homes that they lost, to all the homes their children have built for them. I have come to take my ancestors back home. I have come to take my ancestors back home. I have come to take my ancestors back home.